Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you are watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And joining me, as always, is my co-host from the Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks podcast, Rebellious D. How you doing today, bro?
It is time. It's time. It's time to rock and roll, man.
Okay, Booker T. I didn't know what you were trying to do right
man.
here.
Me either, man. I almost passed out trying to get that energy level up.
So today we're reviewing episode 3 of Stargirl season 2, Summer School.
That's right.
Chapter 3. And before we get into today's review, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks.
And always podcast in the description. We'd like it if you go check that out, please. Like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into this review. Again, another good episode of Stargirl. I really enjoyed it. I just feel like every time we watch an episode of this, like we always find out some more stuff that happened and the story, and it just continues to keep on progressing, man.
That's right. I love the direction of the show. It's just kind of refreshing. You know, we watch a lot of stuff here on the channel, but I just really like the story. I don't know.
Yeah, man, it was cool. Like we get a flashback again of the Justice Society of America, like the events that happened before Pat went to go and rescue. Go and rescue like Starman. Yeah, I don't know, but and then we see him and Thunderbolt, Johnny Thunder, at the Justice Society of America headquarters.
I was gonna call it the Sanctuary.
Oh my god! Hey, just take it easy.
This is for the streets too.
But Johnny Thunder, he's kind of upset that he's not up there on the fields fighting with the JSA. And then we get to see Wildcat, and he comes. He's just like, "Hey, we need you and everything." Now, D, I don't know about you, but when this is also the first time that Wildcat has appeared. He wasn't in season 1 of the show at all. And when I saw him, bro, I was expecting him to be much older, because I guess it's because like every time like we see Wildcat and stuff, he's already older. Yeah. And now the Wildcat, did he appear in Arrow?
Ooh, I want to say yes. Early in Arrow. He was, because he was running a gym. If I remember correctly, that's who he was supposed to. Like season 1 or 2. Like real early in the show.
Yeah, because him and Black Canary, like they're...
and he doesn't stay around on the show either. It's like a one and done kind of thing. Like he's there. He's mentoring somebody. I just can't remember the context. But yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I like Wildcat, man.
Yeah, he's a fun character.
He reminds,
just a brawler.
He has the attitude of Wolverine, but he's not Wolverine.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
Yeah, he's just an old school, clean my streets up kind of guy.
So it's like, we get that flashback, and then we get to the present day, and we see Mike. He's in the streets. He's slinging them papers, and he ends up getting stopped by some bullies, and they're just like, "Hey, you got to cough up the money." And Mike, he does get roughed up too. And he comes home, and he sees his family, and like they're talking about everything that's going on right now in town, and they mentioned the shade and all this stuff. And Mike, he's just like, "Oh, you guys are talking about JSA stuff," and they're just like, "Oh no, Mike, you don't have anything to worry about it."
Yeah, they kind
of just seeing his face, man. They
like, have to do him like that. Even the mom was talking with him.
Yeah, it's just like she's a part of the team.
Hey,
bro,
Iris 2.0.
Hey, bro, the janitor at the school, he's part. Oh yeah, he really is part of it.
Hey, yeah, he literally.
Hey, no, but here's one for you. The one dude that's at Pat's shop now, that's working on the robot.
Yeah,
like, he's part of the team.
Yeah, where's that guy? Hey, he came out of nowhere, got a job.
It's like everybody part of the team except Mike. And he, of course, he feels down, he feels sad because going back to season 1, this is something that he always wanted to do. Like when he found out that Courtney was Stargirl and that Pat was what is his name? It's not Patriot, Stripesy.
Yes, Stripes.
But I can't remember.
I think it is,
but they call him Stripesy. But like he just wants to help out. He wants to be a part of the team. And he ends up finding Johnny Thunder's pen that Courtney had taken with the rest of the equipment that the JSA had, and Mike, he picks it up, and not Johnny Thunder, but Thunderbolt. He comes out. He comes out, and like, you know, now Mike, he can make wishes and stuff like that. And
I think it's a cool concept.
It was really a cool concept. Now, bro, you already know when I saw Thunderbolt pop out, I was just thinking this is a JoJo reference. That's the first thing, because I mean, like, that's his stand.
He did so good all night too, man.
Hey, look, man, I'm just gonna call it as I see it. Hey, I
gotta give you. I mean, he looked either like Genie or one of those things that you
JoJo reference. He's a stand. Just say it. But D, like, what were your thoughts on seeing Thunderbolt and like Mike now having his own powers?
I think it was
powers, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, having possession of something that gives him power. I just think it's really cool. He's not a character, you know. I've never even heard of him before this. I never really looked into the JSA. Prior to this, I just already knew the bookmark, you know, the Hallmark members that are always shown in anything that they're featured in. So it was kind of cool to get him anyways and find out what the pen actually did, which it turns out to be a genie lamp, essentially, which is pretty sick.
Yeah, it is cool, but you have to be careful with what you wish for, because
you say.
Because he was just like, I want some water, and
and
then he was just like, well, you gotta be specific, because then he just got a bunch of water and just can't crash it down on. And I will say, like, when he wished if he could be taller, I was thinking, like, bro, it was on some mutant type stuff. Like, what movie is it? Like Annabelle, when I don't know if you've seen Annabelle Creations.
Of course.
When the demon, remember, she was sitting at the table, and then the mom, she walked in the room with the cross, and then she just stood up and she started mutating. Like, that's what I thought was happening to Mike. But then you see, like, he was on a bench, and he was just like, yeah, you got to be specific, and you can't make the same wish twice. And I just think it's interesting that it's like you have to be very specific with what you wish for, which is what we see when they're trying to figure out where the shade is. And like everybody in the JSA, like, they all write on the board, so that way that they can make sure that the wish is perfect. Now, a bit of trivia that I found out about this is that the director said that she had each cast member, like, literally just write what they thought what perfect wish would be. And that's what they did. Because, I mean, I was thinking about this. I was just like, I wonder, did they all really just write on the board? Or is this something that, like they, it was a prop that was already made. You know what I'm saying? But they all actually wrote on that board. And
that's kind of cool. That's fun trivia to know. I do want to say, too, before we move away from Thunderbolt, is that you get the typical genie rules, too, as well. You can't wish anybody back, and you can't wish anybody to die.
And you can't wish for anybody to fall in love with you.
Correct. And the love rule.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. And then also too, I'm surprised that we didn't get any talk of Jay or Jenny, because remember in last week's episode, she just disappeared. She left that morning. So I'm looking forward to seeing if we see her again, which I'm pretty sure we are.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's. Well, remember something that I mentioned on, I think it may have been last week's episode, about back then it was just light versus dark, the Green Lantern versus the Shade. And I'm pretty sure she's going to be a key component to stopping him. Also, the staff itself. Remember, he couldn't absorb the light coming out of the staff like he could everything else. Exactly. He couldn't, like, he was like sucking the light out of rooms and stuff. Like when he ran into the mom mysteriously.
He was it was in the storage unit.
He
was just like, I'm just trying to help. I'm just trying to help out, and since I went, because he was looking for the jewel. And Cindy, she has it. And it was just interesting because we find out too that the Shade, he's somebody that's not to be messed with, and he ended up killing the original Dr. Midnight.
Yes, he
did. So that's the reason why it's just like, Pat, he's just like, well, this guy, he's dangerous. We need to be on our guard and whatnot. And Beth, she's just like, well, everybody else got revenge for what happened to them, and I'm the only person that didn't get revenge for Dr. Midnight. So this is something that we have to do. And they end up meeting up with Dr. Midnight after they make that perfect wish. And they tell Mike, they're just like, no, you just stay here, because it's like you're not somebody that should be out on the field yet, because you don't have any training. He doesn't have any training. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one of those situations where it's just like, if you lose the pen, then what are you going to do?
Exactly.
You know? So, I mean, they and he agreed to stay at the, location, at the garage, but they end up going to see the Shade, and he's just like, hey, I don't want to hurt you guys. I'm here in town for my own purposes, but he's a villain. He's a bad guy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, we know what you're in town for, man. It's just,
like, come on.
Yeah, but it was funny because when they all showed up at the house, and he was just like, have a seat. The tea is hot.
In fact, it's perfect.
And it's crazy that they all actually sat down, and when we see like how strong this guy is after Mike shows up after making the wish, and that's another thing, because when it comes to being a hero, you have to make the right calls, and Mike, he just came charging in the room, and he didn't know what was going on, and Shade, when he unleashed all his powers, bro, it was wild, man.
Yeah, it was. He just kind of dismantled them. Basically,
but he couldn't take the staff though.
No, he couldn't,
and he kept trying to, and then he was just like, y'all better leave me alone, and then he ended up leaving. Now, I will say too that Mike, he felt bad because of everything that happened. And also, Tucson, I want to touch on is that Thunderbolt and Pat, they end up having a conversation, and Thunderbolt tells him like, what Johnny's last wish was, and it was for him to find somebody that was just like him, and Mike was the person that was just like him. You know what I'm saying? It had to be the right person. Not anyone could just pick up this pen and use it, because if I remember correctly, in season 1, like, didn't Courtney try to do something with the pen, but it didn't do anything?
Yeah, she clicked it.
Yeah, and it didn't do anything.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not just clicking it. You have to say "so cool." Remember, it's you have to use a keyword. So just clicking it wouldn't have done anything.
That's
anyway.
right. Yeah, you're right. And then also too, when Mike had said "so cool," it was because he was walking, and then like he started seeing it everywhere.
It's almost like it was calling out to him, I guess, because it was showing him signs. So eventually, if you see a word pop up everywhere, you're gonna say it at some point.
Exactly. And we see at the end of the episode that everybody, like, they're disappointed with what happened, and Wildcat, she ends up talking to Mike because she's still going through stuff, Yolanda, because she ended up killing old boy in last season, and she asked him like, how did it feel when you killed Icicle? And he was just like, well, technically it was just an accident. I was just driving, and he just kind of just was there in the road. You know what I'm saying?
And he was gone.
Yeah. So, Mike, he ends up he says those magic words, and like that's what Pat told him. You got to be careful what you say. And he's just like, I wish that this pen was in the hands of somebody better. And it disappears, and then we see that it ends up getting in somebody else's hands, and that's how the episode ends. Oh, that's also, right. We see Richard Swift on top of a building, and also too, Beth, when she gets the goggles working again, Dr. Midnight tells her that old boy is here, and y'all need to watch out. What is his name again? The guy that is in the crystal. I wrote his name down, and
I do not remember his name.
Can't remember his name, but anyway,
purple crystal guy.
Yeah, purple crystal guy. I can't remember what his name is. I thought I had it written down, but he was just like, "Hey, he's here. Y'all need to be careful." And that's all that happened. So,
now I wonder if the guy that's in the crystal is linked to Thunderbolt.
I don't think so.
Well, because Thunderbolt is a genie of some sort. That's not to say that the other side didn't have one. Because he's not working off of genie rules, though. We'll say that much. He's feeding off of people's desires, though. Because once he gets you to cross that threshold of committing a sin, essentially, then he kind of claims you and feeds on you. So I'm just curious to see what it is that's inside.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what that thing's name is again. I'm mad I can't remember.
Because I'm wondering what the connection between him and the Shade are. Because the Shade's clearly looking for him.
Yeah, why does he want it?
Yeah, why? So, because I know it's powerful, but so is he. So,
yeah, I'm trying to find out what the thing's name is.
Worse.
And, hey, let us know in the comments because I can't remember what the thing's name is. We just know that it's that diamond and Richard Swift, he wants it. So D, final thoughts on the episode and what is your rating for it?
I really like this. Like I've mentioned before, week in and week out, I like the progression of the show. They haven't disappointed me yet. And I just look forward to seeing I really want to see this final fight and see where it goes from here. Because now we're going to be basically out of JSA or ISA members after this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, where do we take this show now? Do they hit the road and leave Blue Valley? It's a lot of answers that still questions that still need to be answered. I give this episode probably a fresh 8 out of 10, man. I like it. I love the Shade as a villain. I'm happy that DC is giving me more characters that don't get a lot of spotlight at some capacity. I think that's the most intriguing thing about the show.
I agree with you. And also, too, his name is Eclipso.
Yes, Eclipso.
That's what his name is. And in a way, like I'm looking at him because they have shown what he's going to look like in this season. And he kind of reminds me of Wishmaster, the genie from the Wishmaster movies.
See, that's a genie.
Yeah, and it's a genie. So it's a possibility. I mean, but he's not granting wishes for people. He's more of
he's feeding. He's tricking them.
Yeah, it's like the 7 deadly sins.
He's exposing them to a sin.
Exactly, and that's how he gains power from what they do. But yeah, man, for me, like I enjoyed the episode. It was one thing seeing Mike go through all of this stuff, and I feel like everything that happened in this episode is just going to continue to push him to end up joining with the ISA. I really feel like because he doesn't feel like he's part of the team, and I feel like Cindy's going to give him some type of power, and we're going to get that fight between Mike and Stargirl. But I like how Courtney, how she tries to tell Pat, it's just like, I was the same way when I first started. You didn't want me to have the staff, and you don't want him to have the pen. And in a way, I kind of feel like that Pat is more harder on Mike because Mike is his own son,
blood son,
his blood son. Correct. And he doesn't want anything to happen to him, but he still cares the same way about Courtney as well. But it's just like Mike is his blood son, like you said. So
yeah, it's still. I mean, he was kind of hard on Courtney, but you have to look at it. Pat lost everybody that meant anything to him at one point in his life. So I understand not wanting to introduce the kids to the game, but I think it's gonna be interesting to see what Sydney does. Like, she got all those. Didn't she get artifacts too to pass out? Something like that, right? I
don't think
she found their base.
She just put the pictures up of everybody that she's gonna get. So
it's just gonna be interesting.
But you got to remember, like all of the kids, they already, like the one kid, he already has the ice powers, and then the one girl, she's the daughter of the sports master and Tigress.
Yep.
So it's just like, what I'm saying. And honestly, I do think that she was trying to do something in that first episode. She knows, and she was just like, I was just trying to hand them the high. No, you know.
Yeah, you know
what's going on. Yep. So but for me, I give this episode an 8 out of 10. Looking forward to next week's episode. We don't have any breaks or anything coming up yet, so hopefully this thing just keeps on pushing, and we don't have
breaks. They save the breaks for Superman and Lois.
Yeah, man, because I don't need any breaks for Stargirls, man.
I don't need it. I think it killed the show.
Yeah, I just want this thing to keep on going. I mean, I'm checking right now to see if there's any.
Don't tell me. Even if there is.
Let's see. No, it looks like August 31st and then September 7th. So, I mean, that's 5 episodes. So, we'll see. But thank you for watching this review. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this week's episode. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Get in the comments. Let's talk about it. D, let them know where they can find you at in social media land.
As always, that's rebellious _D23 at Instagram.com. Banks, hey, if Blue Valley needs one more hero, baby, where they gonna find you at?
You can find me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, at King Benji _Banks on Twitter and Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you again for watching our review. Make sure you check out some more of our reviews that we have here on the channel, interviews, reaction videos. Check out our podcast where we drop new episodes every Tuesday, and that interview is on YouTube that Friday. Keep that pinky up. Stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.